Section 1 of Selected Poems of Puerto Rico. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information, or to find out how you can volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Selected Poems of Puerto Rico. Intimate Prayer by Antonio Nicolás Blanco. Read by Newgatenovelist. Blessed forever be my hamlet in its simplicity, with its mornings calm and bright, lilac covered, or blue or white, where evening as a perfume goes, and twilight's coloured like a rose, with nights whose beauty nothing mars, drunken with the moon and stars, where the ancient steeple airy watches like a visionary, with tiny houses that beguile one's spirit with their humble smile, where ancient laurels touch the sky, and from tall cotes the pigeons fly, where the rivulet and river bathe the feet of the village ever, where blossomy branches are the yield of the fertile, fragrant field, with hearts good and happy, making life's old hurt leave off its aching, hearts that crave no other's pleasure, but the days by duty's measure, childlike souls who seem to be all courtesy and gravity. For this, and for much more that I from memory will not let die, blessed forever be my hamlet in its simplicity. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Son Sabas by Luis Pales Matos. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. There is here an ancient anchorite, who so spring-like shows that on a cliff inaccessible he tended his mystic rose, intoxicate with April and haircloth and censers, and over all, since no earthly dew fell there, the dew celestial, he lived remote in a cave, viscous as an evil mind, amid thistles and brambles, he was animal and divine. The thorn spoke to his feet with an especial blessing, by his blood sanctified. No flower its perfumes shed on that gentle old body, an azure calm possessing. Little poisonous creatures were his only friends, and grey mists were dispelled from his eyelids when he began to pray. Below him the pale hamlet a flock at dawn seemed to be, and the sonorous sound of the anvil, the bell of eternity. Men going to the mountain, and women to their praying, children to their playing, dogs to their barking, oxen to the plough, cows to the milking, all birds to flight, and all the flights to sea, all seas to the wind, all the winds to blowing, all the blowing to life, all life to labour. And above this intranquillity, in the refuge he had made, son Sabas, ample as a tree, giving his paternal shade. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Bolivar by Luis Llorens Torres. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Poet, soldier, statesman, hero, he stands, great, like the countries whose freedom he won, he whom no country can claim as her son, though as his daughters were born many lands. His was the valour of who bears a sword, his was the courtesy of who wears a flower. Entering salons, he laid by the sword, plunging in battles, he tossed away the flower. The peaks of the Andes to him seemed to be but exclamation points after his stride. Soldier poet he was, poet-soldier was he. Each land that he freed was a soldier's poem and a poet's deed. And he was crucified. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Garden of Concha Espina by José A. Balseiro. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Garden of Concha Espina, shadowland of love and life, of the perfume of roses and laurel, of enduring marble and crystal waters, salutary eternities of purity and song. The sea of Santander murmuring ever the same old creed of constant fidelity. At eventide, when life declines, there will pass athwart your bowers ghosts of lives your lady has created. So forever there shall be beauty in every nightfall. Garden of Concha Espina, when your mistress seeks you for repose, when she would lose herself in dreams, dreams we in vain would fathom, but which are known to you, O garden, in every one of your roses, in every trailing vine, in every evening shadow, in every song of the fountains, in the tender protection of the trees, and white caresses of the waking sun, in spite of the restlessness, as of bird wings, that scale the immensities to submerge us in the cloudless light of peace. Garden of Concha Espina, since you embody her name, treasure as well her soul. Thus shall your flowers know a fuller bloom, thus shall your plenitude expand afar. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Holy Week by Virgilio Davila. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Here's Holy Week. How very different we spent it in our native town at home, where everybody still and pious went and hushed as though beneath some convent dome. The merry tinkle of the belfries stilled, the rattles had begun their hollow roll, the entrance to the village church was filled with pious folk, grown anxious for their soul. The women had put off their coloured dress, and gaudy flowers and ribbons, to confess in mourning garb their Jesus' death and loss. The men suspending labour now attend, dressed in their best, awaiting to the end the 7 last words and stations of the cross. Then the procession, from the crowded nave, moves solemnly, a mighty multitude, with sacred hymns and attitudes most grave, as though with mystic powers it were imbued. Saint Anthony's sodality is there, old women who have made the church their home, each child of Mary and each urchin bear. How many in God's honour thither come! The cura forth mid chants and incense files, beneath the canopy borne down the aisles by parish notables with airs that brag. But haughtiest of all, the village mayor, in broidered coat preeminently there, goes first to bear the patriotic flag. 'Tis Holy Saturday, the sunbeams smile, as though some sweetheart saw her love appear. Crowds in the church are waiting, hopeful, while the Lord prepares to rise, for 10 is near. The linen sheet across the chantry parts, Gloria in excelsis. Scarce the priest has prayed, when the high belfry's jubilation starts, the organ roars, the royal march is played. At once the rattle of old musketry, the sounds of children shouting in their glee, to chase old Judas down the crowded way. Life seethes in alleys that before were bare, anew the shopkeepers display their ware, and each heart patters, Resurrection Day. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Mist by Lola Rodriguez de Tio. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Oh, faint remembrances of vanished days that stole away on such a velvet wing, o'er meads and groves, o'er plains and mountain ways, what grief and sorrow to my heart you bring! Come back without the shadow of your care, come back in silence and without a moan, as the birds cross the unregarding air, till none may tell the whence or whither flown. Come back amid the pallor of the moon that silvers all the azure rifts at sea, or in the deadly mist that in a swoon engulfs afar the green palm's royal tree. Bring back the murmur of the doves that made their little nests so neighbourly to mine, the vibrant airs, the fragrances that played around the peaks that saw my cradle shine. Sing in my ear the melodies of old, so sweet and joyous to my inmost heart. Oh, faint remembrances two breasts should hold, two breasts that destiny was loath to part. What matter if a sigh steals through the dream that shows the withered vine in flower again, so that remembrances in singing seem, O tremulous lyre, to speak my endless pain. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. My Pegasus by Antonio Perez Pire. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. My mount is Arab English, firm and strong, with slender, agile legs and lengthened throat. The nerves upon his flanks in network throng. His beauty has a strange and curious note. The blooded stock to which his sires belong shines on his forehead with its tangled coat. He paws and curvets 'neath my bridle's thong, and sniffs eternities in breaths that gloat. In pastures calm he grazes, but on high his crest of light goes singing toward the sky, his mouth athirst for azure depths afar, as though to gulp the starry spaces down, when sudden with a brutal hand I drown his frenzy, and the reins a trembling are. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. To Her by Luis Muñoz Rivera. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. When on my lyre I touch the strings apart, in search of melody serene and rare, her memory comes stealing o'er my heart, and gentle thoughts in thousands gather there. Her image floats before me in a glance of golden wonder hovering at my eyes. An atmosphere delirious would entrance my soul with perfumes out of paradise. The sparkle of her glances sets aflame the hearth place of the inmost of my soul. It glows with inspiration, strings acclaim. The chant begins and swells beyond control. Then as the radiant vision dies away, as melts afar some white cloud full of dew, my verses through my mind begin to play, and on the page my pen would catch a few. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. End of Selected Poems of Puerto Rico. Thank you for listening.